I beg your pardon, guys. Yes, apparently, I misclicked backwards on my, I misclicked key back on my browser. So somehow, it ended, the transmission of streaming data. So yeah, therefore, abruptly, ended, the stream. So I beg your pardon, and I, hope you guys can excuse me for the interruption here. So yeah, resuming our live stream for this, for Christmas year 2025. Yes, so um beg your pardon. Essentially, like I said, you can get started, by buying and collecting, the so-called fat man silver coins, you know, and which cost around 150 to 200 USD, and yes, if you ask me if there are cheaper ones, yes, most definitely there are cheaper ones, which are, the Sun Yat-sen, Dr. Sun Yat-sen silver coins. Just let me show you here. It should look like this. Here. Can you see that? You might, here you might, feel, you know, the number here, the tag here, might, don't let the price tag here confuse you. Since this one, this one here is prime and mint condition, graded again by allegedly by PCGS at MS66. That says, it's, such grade. Basically, basically says, such coin, is in mint condition. The same condition and status as, when it was minted / manufactured out of, the factory, or the place of its minting. And certainly, and probably, a better condition, than those graded as calculated. So yeah, and on the other hand, it also says PCGS with only four better ones, four better ones received and graded by PCGS. Yeah, and there are, of course, a lot more varieties and variants, pertaining, to such, to the doctor and president minted in. Yes, there is one that, there are actually, two rarer varieties minted, in 1912, and those, can sell around, say, how to, around 30 to 50,000 Hong Kong currency. Converted to USD, that will be, damn it, I beg your pardon, I need to Google that. Converted to USD from Hong Kong dollars, that will be around at least 3,500, 3,857.992 USD. Yeah, but that's, for the rarer varieties. For other varieties here, I'll show you. That's, this one here. It says, they estimated, the cost to be around 2,500 Hong Kong dollars to 4,000. That says, there is the Memento silver coin has a Chinese character variant, double dyed obverse. So that's a mutant, or I should say, a variant or another variety. Yes, and a slightly rarer variety, in this specific, type of Chinese antique silver coins. And there are some other ones, something, yes, military issue here, military issue. Yeah, I don't know if you guys can see that clearly, but yeah, I'm trying my best here to show you. Rarity. Yes, it features an inverted L. It features an inverted L in the alphabet of Republic, the inscription of the Republic of China. So they have the one of the alphabets inverted. So that which caused its its price to rise to at least to 4,000 Hong Kong bucks from 1,000 from 1,000 or 2,000 Hong Kong bucks. But in general, I have seen something much cheaper than this price range. Say around 700. Yes, you might be able, you should be able to see that in my previous videos that I filmed right at the spot at the Hong Kong coin show there. Yes, I'll send you the link if you if you feel interested in knowing more. Damn it! All of a sudden my browser gets so freaking slow. I just don't know how to troubleshoot that. But yeah, I'll send you the link in case you would like to learn more. Yeah. That's the link. And such video also features, the conversation in between, a British posh lady and I, though, yes, I believe, yes, I did kind of, very briefly, filmed her face, though still, yeah, I'll leave you to judge, but still, yeah. And last but not least, regarding more knowledge about how to get started with buying and collecting antique Chinese silver coins, you can also buy something like this one. Just let me show you something. Yes, this one here. Republic of China PCGS grade MS64. Yeah. Can you guys see it? This one. This one here. Yeah, this one. Though, for your information, I'm not, endorsed nor sponsored, by this, Spink company here, just, to, a fair, a fair disclaimer. Yeah, I beg your pardon. Well, thank you for your kind compliment. Yeah, I sincerely hope that you guys have learned something refreshing and interesting, if not also entertaining and insightful. Yeah. Well, generally speaking, this sort of, the its colloquial name is junk, junk silver, quote unquote, the junk silver. And don't let don't let its colloquial name fool you. It is called junk, due to the fact that it has a ship, uh, if I should call this a ship or a boat. But generally speaking, yes, this um, this coin here costs around 3,000 to 5,000 Hong Kong bucks. Way I beg your pardon, way beyond its ordinary price range. So due to its mint condition, again, it's original thin rim type, a crescent of indigo toning on obverse, iridescent, iridescent at the peripheries on reverse. Yes. So its patina and toning, add more value, to its worth. So yeah, whenever that says, whenever you look for some solid, some antique Chinese antique silver coins of solid quality and good and sound condition, you should look for those with its original patina and toning, first and foremost. Yeah. So yeah, I believe that's pretty much all I can show you here. Yes. for those who would like to know more, to learn more, please consider having a look at my Buy Me a Coffee page, and I shall share and I shall upload and share more insightful knowledge with my um my patrons there. And yes, and here I'll give you guys a bonus shot here, showing you, one of the rarest and Chinese antiques silver coins that you can hope to encounter. it's it's again, has it has President Sun Yat-sen. Sun Yat-sen. Yes, and it was minted in Gan Kanshu 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 province. Somewhere in the northwestern part of China. Yeah, a rather remote location. If you ask me, and it sells for at least 25 250,000 to 40 to 400,000 Hong Kong dollars. Yeah, due to its extreme rarity and fairly great condition. Yes, graded by again by PCGS at a grade of AU 50. AU means almost uncirculated. Yeah, almost uncirculated. Yeah. Yeah. So that's it. For the for the free part. For the parts that I can share with you guys. Free. For for free. Yeah. But yes, but again, I'll show you guys the cover page of this booklet that I grabbed at the show, at the Hong Kong coin show here. Yes, that's the cover page, which features this particular extremely rare silver coin with Dr. and President Sun Yat-sen inscribed at its obverse here. Yeah. Doctors and President Sun Yat-sen. Yeah. So yes, salute to him, since he is he was one of the greatest Chinese revolutionaries throughout the entire country's history. Yeah, and of course, he is the founding father, at least one of the founding fathers of the Republic of China. Yeah. How expensive is the rarest Hong Kong coin? Well, they are not exactly Hong Kong coins. I did show you a few coins that were minted in Hong Kong instead of mainland China. But as far as I know, maybe it can sell. The most expensive ones can sell around maybe 200, not 200, 2 to 4 million Hong Kong bucks. That's about equivalent to, say, equivalent to around 390 390,000 USD, and they are certainly more more expensive and rarer ones. I haven't seen the rarest myself, so I can't really comment and speculate further on your question. But still, yes, there are plenty. There are you know loads of, how should I put it? Not exactly loads of species, but loads of varieties and variants of antique Chinese um, silver coins, and of course, it's the it's ancient um, currencies, circulated, throughout its entire um, documented history. Yeah, such as the Song and the Song and Ming and Qing dynasties, etc. Blah blah blah. There are like around maybe more than a dozen of different dynasties, throughout the entire Chinese civilization and documented history. Yeah. I beg your pardon. Yeah. So, excuse me for a sec. I just need to switch on the lights. Switch on the light. Okay. So, yeah. Yeah, back on track. Yeah. Thank you, Polo. Yeah. So back, to, yes, next I would like to talk about my thoughts on fanboys and its associated topics, blah blah blah. Yeah. So you know as a matter of fact, I at least once or twice, I myself at least once or twice consider going fanboy. But I on the other hand, I respect and love myself too much to actually do so. And though yes, I did kind of plan and give a thought or two about about cosplaying as Princess Snow White during this holiday season. But I then you know um, called it off. I called it off eventually. I just don't want to to how should I put it, to give myself a bad start, or I should say to fall into Satan's to fall into Satan's temptations. Yeah, though I'm not necessarily suggesting or saying that if you go fanboy or fanboy maxing, you automatically become an enemy of God's or enemy of Christ. No, not exactly, but say, assuming you do kind of feature some sort of, say, natural femininity, say like smoother skins, white skins, and somewhat feminine looking hands and facial features, blah blah blah, and you can do so without sodomy, without having sex with another dude, then who am I to judge? Exactly, so and so on the other hand, say even if you decide to do so, and you can make plenty of money and therefore a decent standard of living, then like I said, I won't judge you for so doing, and I certainly won't hate you for so doing. But there are, though there are some exceptions, such as Finster. I really, I how should I put it? I don't really, you know, you know, particularly, find him to my liking, to my taste. He isn't really my cup of tea. But if you can, say go fanboy maxing like Vladimir, and and by doing so, you keep some dudes, some lonely and broke and possibly highly traumatized dudes like me entertained, and therefore preventing them from um from committing suicide, then you might have actually done something godly or something somewhat praiseworthy. In that case, are you might be doing something good. So yeah, but do bear this in mind. By going fanboy maxing, by going not just fanboy, but fanboy maxing, you will risk yourself. Your philosophy is your philosophy as if your philosophy, if you like, your philosophy is very much like Schopenhauer. Maybe here and there, more or less, yes, but I haven't actually really taken the a decent amount of time to study Schopenhauer's books thoroughly. So yeah, but yeah, I'll take that as a compliment. Thank you so much. But yeah, just like I said, once you choose to go fanboy or fanboy maxing, you pretty much risk yourself. You risk yourself. You'll put yourself at the risk of getting bullied and harassed, by other dudes. Not just maybe also some women might look down upon you and harass you, troll you, possibly harm you and traumatize you. You know, I yeah. So how should I put it? Yeah, how should I put it? So if you decide to kind of make good use of your natural naturally born femininity or feminine traits, then why not just maybe say dress yourselves like say like how how in How's Moving Castle by Miyazaki by Miyazaki Hayao. Yeah, by Miyazaki Hayao. and possibly also, yes, sexual malu from the anime Inuyasha. Yeah, maybe you can kind of dress and act like them, and by so doing you might be able to get yourself laid and hooked up with some quality women, as a result. Since they the I believe well, at least the way I see them, they kind of you know they look slightly feminine in physical appearance, but and yet on the other hand, they are managed to attract and create loads of female simps in the meantime. So yeah, so there's also something or someone in another anime that that appears somewhat feminine yet has attained high level of attraction and popularity among its among his female audiences. Say call what's the name in English it's called Black Butler. In Japanese, that should, I beg your pardon. In Japanese, it's called kurojitsuchi. Kurojitsuchi. 日本語で kuro kuroshitsuchi. Kuroshitsuchi と言います。Yes, so if you wish, to kind of, make good use of your natural femininity, if you do happen to, um, you know, to 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 possess, some traits of natural femininity or some naturally occurring feminine traits or facial features or bodily shape, then maybe you can use them as a as a model. But I highly I totally I totally oppose I totally oppose the act of mutilating and attempting to so-called change or transform your gender. No, I do not support it, and I condemn it, since you can never ever change your gender or your sex, since no matter like I mentioned and stated previously in some of my previous videos, as early as year 2025, I have already clearly stated that no matter how hard you try to change your gender or your sex, you cannot and will not and will never change your chromosomes, your genes, your male genes, even if you cut off your penis and your testicles. No, you cannot and will never, ever be able to change your sex. So that's the bottom line about going fanboy or fanboy maxing. Though I neither encourage nor condemn or oppose that you go fanboy or fanboy maxing. In the event that you can do so you can do so to make a living, maybe a somewhat decent living, and as an entertainer, to keep lonely and traumatized dudes like I company and entertained, then then like I said, who am I to judge? Yeah, and yeah, and yes, I believe there seems to be something similar, to the to uncanny valley pertaining, to how other men see attractive men versus how women see attractive men. Once the level of attractiveness blending with some femininity say reaches or surpasses a certain threshold, you know the hate, or I should say, the loathe, the the feeling of contempt and disgust, tends to tends to beg your pardon. Um, diminish, I beg your pardon. Yeah, but I hope you guys get my points. But beg your pardon. So embarrassing, so awkward to start again. But yeah, I suppose yes. Yes. Speaking of speaking of my feeling, my sentiments towards other attractive men, do I actually like them or hate them? Well, how should I put it? I suppose I kind of pretty much remain highly, if not totally, neutral to them. Though I can't say I dislike them. Since I sometimes more or less still tend to watch and rewatch certain, say, Japanese television dramas and anime that feature attractive, possibly also slightly feminine men. So I can't really say that I either hate or like attractive men, but at least I don't find them sexually attractive. So yes, I am perfectly that says I am perfectly straight. I am a perfectly straight dude. Yeah. Is housing in China still affordable? Is bad in Europe? Yeah. Mostly yes. Housing in China and most part of Asia still is uh, affordable. Yes. At least still feels affordable as far as I can see. Well, maybe except certain, say, large metropolis, say Shanghai, Beijing, or Peking, and Hong Kong. Yes, those cities, can drain your wallet rather rapidly. So do exercise caution, when you plan to relocate to, say, to cities in Asia like Hong Kong, Beijing, or Shanghai, Tokyo, Osaka, Taipei, and Singapore, etc. These cities in Asia, can drain your wallet rather rapidly. So do take note. Yeah. I beg your pardon. Thank you. Yeah. You agree with my take on gender. One is either born a male or born a female. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Though, yes, there can some extremely, and exceedingly rare exceptions can occur. Say, somebody can be born as an intersex, and in that case, in that event, maybe I'm just saying maybe then a gender reassignment surgery can be justified. In that case, then maybe in that case, such intersex individual may then decide whether he or she you know wants to become either a man or a woman. you know yes, after the surgery. But yeah, but yes, aside from that, aside from that, I believe any gender reassignment attempt or surgery is just a placebo, or an act, a facade, to cover your gender dysphoria and your past trauma. Um, but yeah, it's I can't say even I myself from time to time wish that I was born a girl. Since being a man freaking hits freaking hard. Being a man, particularly in this day and age, freaking sucks. You know, we just have to you know carry the weight, the burdens, pretty much non-stop, all the time, 24/7, and have to remain far from weak. You know, pretty much all the time. Though yes, we can share our moments of weaknesses and vulnerabilities with and in front of other brothers, other men, who share similar, if not identical, values and mindsets within the brotherhood, within the circles of genuine and authentic brotherhood. Yeah, but other than that, yes, being a man freaking sucks, particularly in this day and age. And to be absolutely straightforward and honest, I certainly wish that I was born. I certainly wish that I was born a girl. Pretty much, from time to time. Yeah, and that's probably why I decided to kind of um, imitate British posh accent, to keep myself you know company and entertained, and kind of to a certain extent keep you guys entertained and keep you guys company as well in the meantime. Yeah. One thing I can say for me personally, you are far from weak. I have seen your work ethic, and most men don't put in that work, brother. Well, thank you so much, man. I am so relieved. I'm so relieved, to hear that. Yeah, and yeah, and at least my hard work paid off a little bit. Though I can't say that most of my hard work has paid off during year 2020 25. And as a matter of fact, most, I'd say at least, not 85 to 95% of my hard work in this year did not get any payoff. But I'm not exactly complaining. But yeah, I just wish I could make more money to afford more long distance travels, particularly overseas travels to Europe, to back to Japan, if not also to Hong Kong, and say even to the States, if God willing. Yeah, but yeah. So yeah, yeah. Likewise, and that makes two of us. Yeah, but yeah. So yeah, I believe yes, I have talked quite enough during this live stream. And in case you guys have some questions, now it's time for FAQs. Um, Otherwise, yes, I suppose yes, I should take some time to catch my breath since I did 100 um 100 push-ups again yesterday, followed by 50 sit-ups today. So my waist and my butt and my my right elbow and my legs kind of hurt quite much. A quick question: does the past exist if you don't think about it? Does the past exist if you don't think about it? Well, the past still remains in someone else's mind. Since your past does not solely feature yourself. It also, you know, necessitate, the retrieval and rewinding of, your past actions and interactions with others, maybe most typically speaking, other NPCs, aka non-playable characters. So in that sense, I don't really, agree, to the notion that the past, no longer exists. At least, partially, it still exists in the deepest core of your mind and in the mind of those other people that interacted and crossed paths with you during, at some points in the past. So yeah, the past, I believe, more or less always remains and exists until maybe until the time of your death. So yeah, well, unless say you catch say Alzheimer's or something like that, or you suffer from say something like amnesia. Amnesia. I beg your pardon. How to pronounce amnesia? Just allow me to look up the dictionary. um, Amnesia. Is it? Yes, amnesia. Amnesia or amnesia. Yes. So yes, unless you suffer from amnesia or amnesia or or say Alzheimer's, that sort of nasty and shit illnesses, then but still, even if you lose your memory, assuming, say, even if you do lose your memory or your memory of your past, all of a sudden somehow, um, some fragments of your past can still remain in those, in those others' minds, who once crossed paths and interacted with you, at some point in the past, so unless you are, unless you go and kill them, but just a joke, but you know, to or you attempt to erase their memories as well. But still, yeah, I hope that answered your question. So yeah, next, no, okay, so I have talked quite enough. So if you have enjoyed this live stream and and part one and my other videos, please consider smashing the like button and subscribing to the channel, and also having a look at my Buy Me a Coffee page and also Patreon page to gain access to some exclusive perks and contents and knowledge base, specifically life hacks for MGTOWs, for lonely and traumatized dudes like us. So yeah, so in any regards, in any event, thank you very much for watching and tuning in to the live stream. And yeah, until next time, if God's still willing, take care, stay out of trouble, and have a lovely holiday season. Have a lovely, enjoyable Christmas where you can spend quality time with quality people, with your loved ones. Ideally speaking, yeah. So yeah, again, thank you very much for tuning in and watching and participating in this live stream and all my previous live streams and other filming sessions. So yeah, until next time, if God's still willing, take care, stay out of trouble, and more importantly, stay far from weak. Merry Christmas and happy year 2026 in advance. Cheers. Stay out of trouble and stay far from weak. Until next time, if God's still willing. Bye. Amen.